Hello everybody, welcome to the video. My channel name is College Football Frenzy, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 10 biggest games in college football for 2020. There's plenty of big out-of-conference and in-conference games for college football for this upcoming season. There were many great matchups last year, and I think there's even more great matchups this year, so I decided to rank the top 10 biggest matchups for the college football season. My criteria was mainly, does it affect the playoff race? Does it affect a division race? Does it affect, a conference race, stuff like that? All kinds of different stuff. Even if it's a rivalry, that helps. So those are the criterias. I'm going to rank them 10 through 1, get right into it. I'll do some honorable mentions right before I get to one as well. Alright, so number 10, Notre Dame versus Wisconsin. This one's at Lambeau Field. It's a neutral site game. These two teams have great fan bases. Should be fun in the first week of October. Wisconsin's going to have a great defense. Not a great offense, but still a great defense. They'll be a top 15 team next year, and definitely a big contender in the Big Ten West. Notre Dame, I think a 1 or 2 loss team next year. They are losing Chase Claypool and Cole Kmet, but they're also getting Ian Book at quarterback back. So that's going to help them quite a lot. So it should be an exciting matchup. I think it'll be a fun one. I imagine game day will go here. It's a neutral site. They like going to neutral site games. I would give the advantage to the Irish, but still, this one should be a very fun one. Two great fan bases. Number 9, the game. You look at Michigan's schedule, and I understand a lot of you probably are saying why Michigan's going to lose this game, and I understand that. There's a very good chance they lose this game. But you have to look at Michigan's schedule. Looking at it, I think at most they have 1 Big Ten loss coming into this game, maybe even 0 Big Ten losses. They should still have chances at winning the Big Ten East coming into this game. 1 Big Ten loss at most, and if they were to beat Ohio State, they should be able to make the Big Ten championship game. So, they could be 9-2, but still I think only 1 Big Ten loss. So that would make them eligible to make the Big Ten championship game if they were able to beat Ohio State in that game. And that's what makes the game so big for this upcoming season rather than last season. Last season, Michigan had 2 Big Ten losses. This year, I only think they're going to have 1 coming into this game, so they'll still have a shot at winning the division. So it's a very big game. Of course, the Buckeyes have the advantage. It's at the Horseshoe, and it's the Buckeyes. I think they care more, but still, it's a big game, and, it's going to be a top 15 matchup again. I think the Buckeyes are likely to be undefeated or 1 loss at most, but still, it's a big game. 8, Texas A&M and Alabama. So Texas A&M went 7-5 last year. Some of you are probably wondering why this game is so high. The reason is, you look at Texas A&M's schedule, the worst they should do in the first 10 games of the season is 9-1. Their only loss should be Auburn, and they can still win that game. So going into this game, in the second to last week of the season, they should have 1 loss at most. So the winner of this game should be in the lead in the SEC West going into the last week of the season. So it's going to be a very big game. I understand Texas A&M hasn't beaten Alabama in Bryant-Denny in quite a while, but still, it's a great coaching matchup. It's a great game. Both these schools have top 10 recruiting classes. It's a big SEC West matchup, so I have it at 8. And if Texas A&M got the upset, they would control their own destiny and make the SEC championship game going into week 13. 7, Texas at LSU, rematch of week 2 last year. Now, this one's, I think, going to be a little bit more exciting. Last year's was pretty exciting as well, but this one should be exciting as just as exciting, if not more exciting. The reason is because Texas, I don't think they've lost much talent. They haven't lost much talent. Meanwhile, LSU has. Now, it's in Death Valley, which is a very tough place to play. So, talent-wise, I think Texas might have the advantage. But, of course, LSU has the home field advantage, and I think they have a better coaching staff. So, this one's going to be very big. I think Texas definitely needs this one more than LSU. If LSU were to lose this game, they could just win out the rest of the way and make the playoff. But for Texas, this is a very big game, so I'm excited to see this one. A lot of early playoff implications. It's a big out-of-conference game, yet it's not even the biggest game that week in week 2. 6, Georgia at Florida. Neutral site game in Jacksonville at the world's largest cocktail party. Of course, this one's at 6 because this one will decide the SEC East. It's not going to be the biggest matchup in all of college football, but still is deciding the division. The winner of this game is going to win the SEC East and make the SEC championship game. So it's a very big matchup. Florida came close to beating Georgia last year. They only lost by 7. They couldn't get a stop at the end to get the ball back, but it was pretty close. It came close. It came up to a 3rd down, and they weren't able to get the stop they needed. But, if they did get that stop, they would have had a chance to tie it up. So this upcoming season, I think it'll be even closer. Florida is slowly catching up to Georgia, in my opinion. I think it'll be a great game. But again, big playoff implications. I think the loser of this game, even if they only have one loss at most and finish 11-1, I don't know if that's going to be enough to make the playoff. I really don't think it will be. So it's a big game. The winner of this game is going to be in good shape to make the playoff. So, it's a huge game. I think Florida, a one-loss team at most next season in the regular season, and Georgia, a one-loss team at most in the regular season. So this is a big game. 5, Alabama at LSU. Similar to Florida and Georgia, this one has a very good shot at deciding the SEC West. The winner of this game is going to be in the driver's seat, or at least have control of their own destiny. Texas A&M will as well going into late in the season. But this is going to be a very big football game. I do think Alabama has a big talent advantage, but LSU, like I said with Texas, they have the home field advantage, which is very important. So it's going to be an exciting matchup. Obviously, LSU finally broke that streak against Alabama. It should be an exciting game. It's probably going to be a back-and-forth matchup. I think it'll be a good one. I would give the advantage to Alabama, but this could definitely be an exciting matchup. And the winner, like I said, most likely wins the SEC West. It could be Texas A&M as well, though. 4, Ohio State at Penn State. So, the Nittany Lions next year, I think, are going to be just as good as they were this past season. They're going to be a top 10 team, not extremely talented, but they're going to be pretty good. Ohio State should be just as good as they were last season as well. The big thing about this game, though, it's in Happy Valley. That's what's going to make it more exciting, in my opinion. If it was in the Horseshoe, I would say Buckeyes definitely, but it's in Happy Valley. That'll make it a great game. Ohio State definitely has the talent advantage, just like I said with Alabama over LSU, but Penn State at home, very tough place to play. They always give Ohio State a great challenge. They're very physical games. They always are close, in my opinion. So this should be a great football matchup. I'm excited for this game as an Ohio State fan. One of the toughest matchups all season for the Buckeyes. It's going to be a big one. So this one could really go either way. But it's a must-win. It's really a must-win. 3, Ohio State at Oregon. So week 2, this is the biggest game of week 2, one of the biggest out-of-conference games in all of college football this upcoming season. Now, the Buckeyes, this is another big game for them. They have a lot of big games. The Buckeyes, it's early on the season. They should be pretty well prepared for this one. You look at the talent overall, I think they have a slight advantage over Oregon talent-wise, but it's in Eugene, and that's going to be a very tough place to play. This should be a good game. The defense for Oregon, I think, is very, very good. I think the offensive line is good. The question is the quarterback position. Who will be starting at the quarterback position? That's the big question. Ohio State definitely is going to have the better quarterback. Justin Fields is great. So that's going to help. They'll have a pretty good run game as well. So I think the Buckeyes should be fine. Talent-wise, Oregon talent-wise, though, also pretty good. So it's going to be an exciting game. I think it'll be close. It's a game, it really could go either way. I would give the Buckeyes the advantage, just like I'll give them a very slight advantage in the Penn State game. But it's a very big game. The winner of this game is going to have a very good chance of making the playoff. Number 2, Clemson at Notre Dame, Week 10. So the first week of November has an incredible game for us. This is going to be a very big game, the biggest out-of-conference game in my opinion, and it comes late in the season. Now, the crazy thing about it is, this game takes place at the same time as LSU Alabama. So this game is going to be going on when LSU Alabama is going to be going on, both at night, around 7 o'clock. So it's going to be interesting. People are going to have to be flipping through the channels for the between these two. So it's going to be a big game. I think it is the bigger game of the week. Or of that week, because Notre Dame overall should have at most one loss. Clemson's going to be undefeated. I think the winner of this game keeps their playoff hopes alive, but the loser's pretty much out in my opinion. I think if Clemson were to lose this and they finished 12-1, I don't think they would make it. I really don't think they would make it. I think Notre Dame would get in over them, obviously. So this would be a very big game. It's in South Bend. If it was at Clemson, I would definitely say Clemson 100% in Death Valley, but it's at Notre Dame. It's going to be interesting to see. It's really going to be interesting. I think Clemson definitely has a better talent, but, it's at Notre Dame. I will say Clemson destroyed Notre Dame last time they played them, but Notre Dame can learn from those mistakes. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. I think they play each other in 2021 as well. But this one, it's going to be a good matchup. All right, and now some honorable mentions. The Iron Bowl and LSU versus Florida. So I say the Iron Bowl because, it's the Iron Bowl. It's a great rivalry. Everybody watches it every year. It's exciting to watch. Two great fan bases, one of the biggest rivalries in all of college football. So I had that on here. And I also had LSU versus Florida because the winner of this game, most likely, I would say, at least keeps their play. If they were to lose to their SEC rival, if LSU were to lose to Alabama or if Florida were to lose to Georgia, they would at least have a hope at making the playoff by finishing 11-1. I don't think either of these teams are going to win their division, but the winner of this game most likely finishes 11-1 overall. So it's a big game. It would at least give them a chance at making the playoff if chaos were to happen and they finished 11-1. So in my opinion, it's a pretty big game. I think they're both going to lose to their division rivals. I think they'll both be close games against their division rivals. But the winner of this game is going to have at least a little bit of hope going to Selection Sunday, in my opinion. So that's why I have this game on here, and it's in the Swamp. It's going to be an exciting one. All right, number one, no surprise here. Georgia versus Alabama, and we get it at a great time early on the season. Week 3, that's perfect. The first few weeks of college football are going to be absolutely fantastic. Week 3, that's a great time to have it early on the season. People want to see big games, and that's going to be great. This is going to be the biggest game of the season. Alabama versus Georgia. We've seen these two play the last couple of years a couple times. They've been great matchups the last 2 times they've met, obviously. Alabama won the SEC championship in 2018 against Georgia. It came down to the final minute of the game. They won by 7 after making a comeback, the Crimson Tide. So that was a big game. The year before that, the 2018 National Championship game, obviously Alabama won in overtime after making a comeback against Georgia. So big game here. Georgia, I think, has the better recruiting class. Quarterback-wise, I think it should be interesting to see who's starting for both teams, honestly. But they have a lot of returning talent. Alabama will have to replace some guys like maybe Henry Ruggs, but they're still going to have Devontae Smith. Jerry Jeudy's going to be leaving as well, so that might hurt them. But, still they have some weapons. They have a great run game as well. I think Georgia's biggest replacement is going to have to be Andrew Thomas and also DeAndre Swift at the running back position. But besides from that, I think both will have pretty good defenses. Both have great recruiting classes. It's in Bryant-Denny, so I think that definitely gives the Crimson Tide a slight advantage. But still, overall, this one should be a very big game. It's going to help them a lot in the playoff race, whoever wins this game. It's going to be a huge resume booster. It'll be a top 5 matchup, no doubt. Probably a 3 versus 4 game coming into that week. So it's a big matchup. A big matchup. And these two could very well both make the playoff. They could see each other twice and still make the playoff, which is a big possibility. So, it's a big matchup. It really is. There's no other way to put it. It's a huge matchup. Again, it could go either way. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you for joining in. Please make sure to like and subscribe and check out all my other videos.